Hi, welcome back to another video. I'm not 100% sure where this video is going to go. I don't want to make something that's super long. I just want to talk about my intentions for my gap year because I feel like this has been something I've struggled with for a long time leading up to my gap year or 2 years, kind of like I've been thinking about. And yeah, so I thought it would just be nice to sort of like mind dump about what I want to get out of these 2 years because I'm feeling a little bit of like sadness now that it feels more like fall in Chicago. And I know that I'm not going to be going back to school, which is a very sad place to be in because every time the weather starts to get a little cooler, I'm like, oh, back to school season. And it's very exciting and very refreshing to have that same sort of pattern that I'm in. And I'm just feeling a little sad that I'm not going back to school this fall. So I thought it would be nice to talk about my intentions for the next year or two and what I want to get out of them before I go into my PhD program. So, the first thing I want to do is definitely emphasize research and continue working on trying to get my master's thesis published. I sent it to one journal that I wasn't 100% sure if it was aligned because they published similar articles, but I wasn't sure if like the scope of my work would align with them. And they sent me a very nice rejection. It wasn't even a rejection, it was more of like a redirection, which is like such a foo-foo way to say that. But they said basically everything I was thinking, like this isn't necessarily within our scope, but we do think this is very publishable. We would recommend a couple of different journals. And if you know anything about academic publishing, it is very frustrating that every journal has their own style guidelines and citation styles and blah, 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 whatever. So now I just have to reformat my research to submit it to a different journal, which I've been putting off for about a month now. So my graduate assistantship that I had for both years of my graduate program ends in 2 weeks. And I'm really sad about that. I have loved working on this team, but I do think that it's going to be nice once this position finally ends that I will have, 20 more weeks on my schedule where I can work on fulfilling more of my research obligations that I've taken on and doing my own independent research. I am submitting a proposal for a book chapter. Well, it's not even a book chapter, it's more of like a short form um, chapter. I don't know, it's only 1,000 words for a book that one of my former professors is working on. So I'm very excited about that. And that submission is due in 10 days, but I already have that written. I just need to send it to him. So I'm very excited about that. So that is one of the main takeaways I want to have from my gap year. And I think one of the other main takeaways that I want to have is that I just want to invest more time in my hobbies. I like don't know how much I want to share because like this is very I'm making this as more of like a reflection for me, but also like this is like accessible by the public. So I don't know how much I want to share, but like I was in an abusive relationship for the first 3 years of college, and it was a full-time job basically. Like I've always gotten straight A's in school. I've always had like good jobs, good internships, but I never really had any energy to give basically anything else besides my schoolwork and this relationship. And that ended the beginning slash middle of my senior year of college. And then kind of soon thereafter, I met my now partner, who is like the light of my life, has encouraged me to grow in so many different directions. It is like genuinely possibly the healthiest relationship ever. Like I'm so happy and so relaxed and so myself. And something that has come of that is discovering a lot of different hobbies that I'm actually very interested in. I started playing bass about 6 months ago, and I want to put more time into that. I am learning all of Kim Deal's bass lines. The Pixies is like one of my favorite bands. I'm also learning, some pop girly bass lines. I'm doing some like Olivia Rodrigo songs, I don't know. It's been very fun to learn an instrument and have like a practice. And speaking of practice, I'm also a certified yoga teacher. So I've gotten out of the habit of doing like yoga classes since my teacher training program, just because it felt like making something I loved doing for relaxation purposes into homework. And I've really struggled to get back into a regular rhythm. So I think one of my goals for myself is to start going to yoga classes more regularly. And I'm lucky enough that I am on part of like a work trade program for a yoga studio very close to me. So I clean the studio for 1 hour a week. I've been doing that for maybe a month and a half now. And then I get a free class out of that. So that's a great way to not spend a lot of money because I'm balling on a budget a little bit, but still keep up with my yoga practice. So that's another hobby. I'm also getting into bouldering. I go to a bouldering gym near me, and I have recently graduated to like a V2, V3, which is not a lot. Like, I know a lot of really tall guys who can go into a bouldering gym and just like crush a V3 with like no preparation just because they're like huge and are really muscling their way through it. But I have been really working on having like the proper, form, and it's been a lot of fun. I really like it. It's just like adult playtime to me. So that's been another fun hobby that I have been investing my time in, and I'm looking forward to investing more time in throughout my gap year. Also, reading for fun. I have a couple books lined up that I've been interested in reading. Maybe I'll make like a little video about that. That would be cute. Um, Watching more movies. I am planning to watch Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma and Tony within the next couple of weeks. I live right next to a movie theater, and I need to take more advantage of that because I really have not used it to its full capacity recently. And I think those are the big hobbies. Besides just like investing in my mental health and like still spending time with my friends and, you know, going out to get drinks and like enjoying fun dinners and stuff like that. And I think my last goal, which is, everybody's goal, is just to like make money. I am very lucky in my financial situation. My dad passed away when I was in my senior year of high school, and he had been on disability for about 4 years before that. So I was able to accumulate disability benefits and like, parental death benefits. So my mom like invested all of that very wisely. So I've been building up my savings for a really long time. And so I feel very confident in like my long term. Sorry about that. I hit the mic. I feel very confident in my long term savings, but I do want to just have some more money to spend on day to day things. I think I spend pretty wisely, but I would like to make more, obviously. I don't know. So I have a couple jobs lined up. I'm always somebody with like 3 or 4 oddball jobs. And I think those, after my graduate assistantship ends, are going to equal out to about 35 hours a week. I was really debating for a long time on whether or not I wanted to have like a full time job in higher education, which is still like a long term goal of mine. But ultimately, I have decided that this is a year for me to really reap the benefits of how hard I have been working for the past 24 years of my life. I've never given myself a chance to just truly chill the fuck out. And I am lucky enough that I have worked hard and put in the work, and I'm gonna chill out for a year while I apply for PhD programs. So there's like still and do research and do all my hobbies. I'm going to have like a full year, but I want to take some time to invest in like more smaller positions that are very fulfilling to me rather than going straight into a full time like 40 hours a week. And I think that's all I have to say. I'm just now seeing I hit 10 minutes, so yeah. This was very clarifying for me. And once again, Delaney, in the future, when you're watching this, I hope you have a good day. I just got a coffee and I go to work in like an hour and a half. Um, yeah, it's been a really nice afternoon, and I hope that you are also having a really nice day.